We're going to work on, from a leg press position, what we call levers, prying the arm free. We want to get that arm out straight. And I have JT on top and Mike on the bottom demonstrating for us. And notice that JT's doing a good leg press position. He's controlling. And notice in this case, with his left arm, he's got Mike's left arm trapped. And let's do that the thigh lever first, where you do that one. So look at his right arm. Before you come on back a little bit, JT, before you start again. Look at his right hand on his own right thigh, or left hand on his right thigh, I should say. And see, now that's a key thing to do. Okay. All right. Now what he's going to do here, he can just turn and lift his hip up and prop that free and then take it. So go ahead and do that if you would. Just prop it free. Boom. And let's look at, really kind of sell that a little bit, JT, where you pop up on that hip so everybody can see it here. See how you turn that way? That's prying it free. And that's a really good prying action, levering that arm out straight. So go ahead and do it like you really be doing it in a fight. And pry it free. There you go. Pop it right out. So that lever, that thigh lever and a turn really does help. Okay, pop it free. Okay. Now let's just go the real basic one that a lot of people do. It works. You just hug his arm real tight to your, and just roll back and take it. Pry it right back, okay? Or you could go back toward his shoulder a bit and pry it. So go ahead and keep him hooked all the way and tight. We're going to finish it out there, and you see how that's, hey, that's basic. It works. It works a lot actually. So don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed of doing it. Some other ones, JT, help me remember. How about the pushing with the feet? We see this once in a while. Notice with, in this case, his left leg that's closest to Mike's legs. He uses his heel to push against Mike's biceps and kick it free, or he might use his other leg, kick it free. Okay, or he might use both of them to kick him free. All right, so those are some good basic ways of levering the arm free. Another way is to keep him hooked there. Okay, now go ahead and grab both hands on his far elbow. So JT, grab both hands, and it's just an arm hug, we call arm hug, and he drags the far arm, and as he's dragging him free, he catches him. Kind of do that a little more realistically because I was talking through it. Grab, and quickly hook, and you finish it. Okay, so there are a couple of basic ways of doing that. Okay, let's look at some compressions. Now, remember, there are a lot of ways to lever an arm free, and these all work. That's why we're including them in this video. They all work. Show us some compression locks from this. The bent arm compression locks that really aren't JUJI gatamis, but from a leg press position, they're pretty darn nasty. And you could, even if the guy is a tough guy and won't tap out, you could pull it straight from there. So go ahead and talk us through it a little bit, JT.
Sure. Number one thing when you start yanking on a guy's arm is he's going to bring it back. It actually works better for this because this is actually going to be where the compression starts. And I'm going to be separating his elbow and his forearm. What I do is I come across, I can figure 4 right here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and lift. You can see he's getting ready to tap. What's happening is my forearm is right here occupying space, and when he does that, it tightens all that space right there. So what I'm going to do is I come up and I squeeze. Becomes a compression. And
that's, some people call that a slicer as well.
Call it, yeah, you can call it a bicep slicer.
Bicep slicer.
You know, the key to it is I don't just press down, I want to bring it to me. Because when I bring it to me, that space closes up and that goes down. If Mike didn't have this hand here, or even like an S grip, it's even going to be more because I have more space to cover and I bring it down that way.
Right.
So, I mean, the key to it is basically bring it to you, press down, and in a fight or in a competition, I like it because I go like that. I either get the tap or it hurts so bad, knocks it free.
Yeah, pulls it out free. Now, you can also use your legs to add more pressure on these compression locks.
Exactly. What I do without rolling back really is come up, and I go right here, and I'm sitting right there, and I lean back with that one because I want the space of my...
So you're pushing down with your left leg on his arms.
It's nice and tight there.
As you're doing the compression.
Here, right there, it's the figure 4 with my leg, basically.
Right.
Another way, you can triangle it. So we're here, I come here, and let's say he's tough. Mike knows what's happening, that's why his leg's up. I'm going to come across for double pressure. Now, that arm might go, which is fine, because I've locked up here, and and I'm squeezing, creating that compression.
Now again, we want to point out these aren't JUJI GATAMI. These are actually classified as udegarami, or a bent arm lock. And often a bent arm lock is so nasty when you do it as a compression lock. And a compression lock is any time you have an arm trapping the inside of the arm, as JT is doing here. Look at his left arm, and now he's providing the leverage and making it hurt. So that's a classic example of a compression lock. Okay. Another one, can we have Sandy come on in? And Mike, stay there. We're going to show a very popular one. It's an oldie but a goodie because it works. And this is kind of a bent arm lock to get the JUJI. So Sandy, go ahead and start it. Go ahead, and you're doing your JUJI GATAMI. And she's caught a lot of women in her career with this. See how she starts there? Now look at how with her right arm, that's the arm closest to the head, she's trapped that through, and Mike's left arm is trapped. Look how she's grabbed herself. Now watch what she's going to do with her other arm. She's going to put her elbow on the inside. Now she's just doing this. She would probably keep her hands together and loop them over, but we're showing this for now. So you can see how she is now bent his arm. See, her left arm is on the inside of his left, or elbow on the inside of his left elbow, and she cranks it, so she turns that and she rolls back into a JUJI. Let's get another view of this here so you can see how she's doing it. She traps it. See how she grabs her hands together. Now with her left elbow, she's pushing on Mike's left elbow, turning it. There she's got a nice bent arm lock. She could maybe win with that one, but if he's a tough guy and doesn't tap out, she comes over and she finishes out with a JUJI and gets the tap out. So one more time, just a little more normal speed like you would normally do it. There you go. See how she grabs her hands and does that? There's several ways of doing this. You can grab your hands together or whatnot initially and crank it in. That works just as well. Those are very popular and they are effective. And some people, yeah, you could go the opposite. Hey, there you go, Sandy. Thanks for bringing that up. We can do that just as well the other way. Notice how she's trapped and trapped. Let's take a look at what Sandy's doing. Sandy, stay there. With your left hand, you're coming up high, aren't you? With your right hand, you're going to trap low. So we have a high and a low controlling position to get that lever. You can see how her hands are. See how her left hand is high on Mike's wrist area? Bone to bone, okay? Now her left arm is trapping, okay? And she gets that closer, and now she looks how she cranks that, and she bends it the other way. And if the guy resisted, she could straighten it out for a nice JUJI GATAMI. So there we have several levers. Once you get your opponent on his back, rolling him over, he's not going to lay there and let you lock his arm. You're going to have to lever that arm free. And these are some levers, and we're showing these a lot in a no-gi situation because they work in a gi situation just as well. Okay, speak up, Sandy.
When I do this and I get here and here, just to give me more anchor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, good point. So notice how she's trapping even more with her legs when she does this. Look how she rolls back. So with her knees, she's really trapping it, and her legs, and she's drawing his head back with her right. See how she's drawing his head back? Do that one more time. Mike loves this, I know. And there we have that. Draw it back, and we have that. So there you have several levers. All work. There are more. Read our book, JUJI GATAMI Encyclopedia. We have them, but we can cram in here on this video. So thanks a lot. We're doing the head sit drill, and the purpose of this drill is after we do our spin and stretch, we spin them to simulate a throw or takedown. Sit on them for a bit of time, and guys just want to sit on them a little longer, show a little more control, then go back. The purpose of this drill really is to practice the sitting on the head, sitting on the shoulder for control. That's a key position to have after you throw them or take them down. Sit, and control. And we're just exaggerating it to make the athletes be stronger, better balanced when they sit, because when they do sit back and roll back for their JUJI GATAMI, they are controlling, and the idea is to immediately follow up after a throw to the ground. There you go, sit back and roll. And the idea is just to sit back and to sit on the shoulder after you spin them. I'm walking, so that's why we're jerking the camera. And the new guys, Shane's working it. Okay, we'll go to another group here. There we go. Eric on Sandy. Now, Eric, go ahead and kick your leg overhead because you want to control that head too. There you go. You've got to trap it. There you go. Now he's just sitting it there, and now he's shown control. And this is a drill. You wouldn't actually do this in a real situation in terms of, you would immediately follow through with a JUJI GATAMI, but we're emphasizing this position so that the athlete is stronger when he does it. And you can see it's a head sit, shoulder sit we call it, rolling back. And again, the book that I did on JUJI Gatame Encyclopedia, we emphasize this as a basic controlling position to get into JUJI Gatame. And it is, there we got Shane, one of our new guys, and he's working on it. Dre's helping him out. So it's the head sit, shoulder sit to show control. There's Mike, he's shoulder and he rolls back with it. So the purpose of this drill is to just exert control over the opponent and then go on to get the JUJI Gatame, or you could lay back into a pin, whatever it may be. That's the purpose of it. We're parsing out the follow through of the transition from standing the ground so that everyone understands the technical aspects of how to do it so they can do it well when they need to do it. And there we have roll back, see how he traps and he goes. The shoulder sit or head sit drill. Submission grappling and sambo, such things as this, sport jiu-jitsu, because in judo, if you can't get the arm, you lose the arm, you have to go to maybe a pin or something like this. But in sports where you can do leg submissions, lower body submissions, here's where we go. This is one of the reasons also we see it in sambo. So we've tried this, and what we do, that sambo, basically that tie up like that, and he rolls to the side here. Now watch, if for some reason JT loses TJ's arm and he slips out, okay, now what he can do is he can jam his knee in, come over there and take a straight knee lock, okay? Or he can do a toe hold from there. Why don't you come over here so you can see these, okay? We'll do it again, okay? Start the series again. Okay, so kind of from this angle, okay. He's keeping his legs down so the camera can see. Again, go ahead and do that. Okay, now they're like that. Now, if for whatever reason he loses the arm, bam, he loses that. See how he jams the knee in and he just rolls into him and gets the leg submission. So he just grabs the leg, rolls to the direction of the leg. Anything to add to that?
Sure.
Guy who likes leg locks.
So a lot of times I'll lose it up here. I'll be sitting up already and I won't have the kick position when the guy turns in. So as soon as he turns in and shrimps out of that, you can actually keep a hold there and sit back into basically a side ankle lock. You get it that way. And then if that doesn't work, you turn over. You've actually got that armpit knee bar. And it that way.
In any event, once you've seen you've lost that arm,
yeah,
turn your attention to the leg because you can get a leg submission there too, pretty quick.
Right.
Just remember, turn into it like both guys were doing here.
And the main idea to remember, guys, is you've already got this leg. You've got two things to lock here. So if he lets go of this, and you're just stuck with one of them, we'll use it. You know, and the easiest ways to do that are just to jam the knee in, or again, we're going to hook this, and then come in like that.
See, in the case, he jammed that leg in there because now he's trapping, and that's really important to be able to trap that.
Right.
You know, just like in the JUJI Gatame where you want to trap his arm with your knees, same thing here. It's trapping the leg with your knees. Okay. Let's go back first way that the JT showed. JT, you want to demo? Why don't you demo, JT?
Sure.
And again, show that. And this is, I think, the easier of the two skills, to, at least to start out with. Okay, so, and you can see you've got it here. All right. Now, when he hooks, he rolls into it, but he loses the arm. Okay, now, see how he jammed that left knee in there, and he rolled into it, and he caught it straight knee bar. Or you can finish off with a heel hook or toe hold, all this stuff too. Okay? We'll finish with that, and like I said, okay, I keep saying we'll do throws. We will do throws tonight. Okay? But let's work on that, finish out. Let's go to the legs.
All right, so we've had a few requests to cover a specific type of armbar lever or grip break. In this instance, what you'll see a lot is this, where it's either palm to palm, or maybe they're grabbing the gable grip or an S grip, or sometimes even they're almost like crossing their forearms. But in rare instances, you'll see guys take a figure 4 grip. So whichever arm I'm going after, Mike figure 4s that, and then he sticks the other one underneath my leg. Okay, and the idea here is that the arm that I'm wanting to pull free now has a very stable grip to go off of, and this, on top of that, I literally have to pull my own leg up because he's got his hand underneath my leg.
Lift your right leg there so people can see what Mike is actually doing. See that? Okay, see that figure 4 grip there? Okay, there you go. Okay.
Now, it's a good grip, especially if you're planning on getting up to your knees and stacking the guy, but just like every other armbar defense, you need to get out of this leg press position, otherwise you're in deep crap, okay? That's just the rule of the game. And the other person knows what they're doing, especially if they like doing armbar levers, you're in trouble, okay? And even if they don't, you can move in and sit on top of your chest, and then it's a whole nother world of hurt. So, back to the position. The normal levers, when we're coming through here, we're gonna get blocked. They're still doable, but they become more a question of using a lot of leverage to pop that free. So something that's a little bit easier is just relying on the basics of what he's doing here. He's grabbing this side and this side. Well, that's great for when I pull this way, but that pops it right free, okay? You'll notice I don't have to move my feet. The arm comes popping right out. And the problem is because that's all he's got. He's got a little, like an inch of finger on this side. So if I'm pulling up, it's great because he's got a forearm blocking it. Okay, but if I can bring it out this way or that way, it pops right out, okay? Don't worry so much about using your foot. If you really have to, you can. But honestly, every time I do this, it's just one good whack and his elbow goes free.
And guys, the key here is when Derek pushes with his left hand, it's not straight back. You know, it's up toward where Mike's shoulder is weak. See, against that like 45-degree angle.
And if I switch my hands, you can almost see it do it that way. You'll notice that's where his arm kind of goes anyways. I'm not going to try and shove him this way because, again, his hand's grabbing on this side.
Right.
So if I go straight this way, I'm not going to get anything. Okay?
He just makes it tighter is what he does.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But if I go that way, it comes right off.
Now, what I would suggest also, Derek's right arm, as he loops it through Mike's left arm, he can grab his own thigh or his gi, anything to create an anchor. Okay, now that traps Mike's left arm. Okay, so it takes a little bit of the strength away from Mike at this point. But now here's where it really comes in by trapping that left arm of Mike. When Derek just uses his left hand to push upward and now crank back, and then he can go back with it. So the key thing, the guy on the bottom is thinking, oh my gosh, he's trapping my inside arm. Okay, that's what Mike's thinking right now. So I'm going to really double up, and I'm going to get my figure 4 grip, you know, on my arms. And what's going to happen then? He's going to quickly, Derek's going to just pop it and then trap it out there, and that's what it is. And that's a pretty simple way, and it actually looks like, oh, what dummy would fall for that? Well, you'd be surprised, actually. Yeah. A lot of good guys have fallen for that.
Yep.
And because they're really using their strength against them. It's the great principle of Ju in this case, of adaptability, flexibility, using his strength against them.
Yep.
So one more time. So look at Mike's grip. Mike is really tying up on the bottom there. And lift your leg again, Derek. So everybody see that? So, you know, Mike could be pushing up that. He's got a good strong figure 4. You know, it's almost like he's doing like a choke.
Yeah,
you know,
an arm triangle.
An arm triangle, you know. So in this case, Derek is going to cover up and control, trap inside there. And this is why trapping is so, remember, we control. So Derek is controlling with the leg press. So he's got control. The second phase is he traps. So with his right arm, as you can see, he's trapping Mike's left arm. Mike thinks his left arm's in trouble. Well, it is, but Mike's right arm is going to be in a little more trouble now. And now on the lever, or the pop or the free, the prying it free, it's just a quick pop upwards and then back down, and you catch it. So that's you know, a good way to do it. I'd say that's probably, it's going to win a lot of fights for you. Again, it's very simple, but a lot of people don't think of it. They think they're quite safe. Okay, where Mike will have an advantage to some degree, and Derek will then have to work for it. If Mike is having an active defense, if Mike just lays on his back and hopes to the good Lord he's going to get out of trouble and tries to sit up, it ain't going to work. But if Mike could turn in and try to pull away, now that's more of an active defense. So that's where that could work. So Derek's got to prevent that by staying in, controlling with a leg press. And as Mike starts to turn in, he traps even tighter. Then he can wedge that arm free, pop it free, and he can take it. So it's almost like a chess match here, you know. And so Derek's got to maintain that good leg press to be able to catch it. We got anything you want to add to this?
Just remember, when we're in this leg press position, we're fighting for the arm lock. It's like any other submission that you're doing, whether you're on defense or offense. Doing one thing isn't ever going to work unless the other guy's a fish. Okay, you got to start thinking of it in layers of offense and defense. You have to move into the next position and transition rather than just sit there and try one thing over and over again.
Yeah, and again, if you can't get this, if the guy is like, Superman and, all the other superheroes together on the bottom, you just can't get that arm free. Well, who says you have to just do the arm lock? Pop up, do something else, get position on top, and now start working. It could be something else. So, you're not obligated to just do an arm lock from there. So, but that's a good release. That's a good lever. Again, we call them levers because you lever it free. Okay, we good, guys? Let's practice this. It's a good drill to practice. Good thing to practice. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Mike. Okay.
So, a couple quick follow-ups. That usually works pretty well, but sometimes the guy follows up after you try the move. So it just kind of depends on how he reacts to the initial whack of his elbow. Sometimes the guys will, like Sandy was saying earlier, grab the gi while they're doing it. Okay, so you have to modify a little bit. And then sometimes what they'll do is they'll bring more of their hand through here, and so it's almost like they've got this, like they're using their whole forearm instead of just their fingers. Okay, so two ways to get around that. Okay, so in this instance, Mike's going to go ahead and bring his arm all the way through, and you'll see he's got kind of his wrist or his palm into a fist. Okay, so even if I've got my hand through there, it gets kind of stuck on everything else. Okay, so popping it free actually becomes a matter of just scooping through a little bit higher. Okay, so normally I'd be coming through right next to where the elbow is, but he's got his arm wedged through there right now. Okay, so I would have to like literally start pulling this way, and usually when I do that, the guy's sitting up on you. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to dig through where there's a hole, which is up here. So you just dig through right through there, you pop out that way, okay? And all I'm doing is I'm just trying to pull my hand this way to come in against his elbow, and that pulls it free of my leg, okay? So dig through where I can get it, grab my palm, pull it back that way, and it'll come free.
There's a little rotation in your hip there too, to your right. So yeah,
it's true. Yeah, in almost all of your levers, guys, you're using your hips still. It's not all your hands. Okay. So when I get this, I'm moving back this way. Okay. Boom, pop, and then we're free. Okay. Another way you can do it is more of the sambo release. I hook this way, lean back, and catch it like that. Okay. Either way, doesn't really matter, just matters on what you really feel like. If he's sitting up, usually I go after the leg. So I hook this, he sits up to stop me, catch, get your hands together, push your leg towards his head. Boom. And there you go. Okay?
Guys, this is my preference here on this situation. I always liked this when it worked for me. I think it worked for you as well, because you're kind of bending him in half when you do the leg grab that we just call it the sambo, arm and leg. Do that again, because he's really concerned about his right arm.
Right. Okay,
and he doesn't have a clue. You're going to be rolling to his, to his leg and bringing him together, and that really helps pop it free. So go ahead, Derek.
So he's going to sit up to try and stack me. So as soon as he starts sitting up and pushing my leg out of his face, I just hook his leg, because he's rolling me that way anyway. So roll under your hip, hook his leg, get your hands together, and then just push your leg towards his face. And then of course, apply your hips. Okay?
And so you can keep hold of his leg. You got his arm and leg. Don't have to let go of his leg. You got him tight. You got a nice JUJI gatame from there. Now when you use that, I like this one. The first one is good too, but this is my preference actually. Notice when Derek's doing this, guys, we'll drill on this in a second. He's going to come on his right hip, Derek is, and that helps give him a little lever. That left leg is like he's doing an osotogari on Mike's head. He's wham, and separates it, okay? And that's a really effective way to get this. But it's the setup. He's starting with a good leg press, guys. He's starting with a really good leg press. He's controlling well there. Again, controlling. Now look at his left arm. Comes up, sneaks it through, grabs it, gable grips, and there you finish. Okay, so that's an arm and a leg release, you know. And again, this is really useful in Sambo because we did it because the guy he had a jacket, but he had no pants, so you can't grab the pants and manipulate with. So, and it really helps hook, you know, so you can hook them there. Any questions, guys? All right, well, let's do it. Derek, can you do it one more time on that one, and then one more time on the first release?
There. Okay, boom. That's that. Pop back.
See how you control? And the first release, show that one,
Okay,
right there through it.
Together, pull it sideways, torque your hips towards it.
And you see, it's really a tearaway, you know.
He's grabbing the inside of his bicep.
Okay, so good question. Okay, I'm going to do something a little bit different when he does that. When the guy's reaching through and grabbing his own sleeve in this version of the figure 4 defense, okay, again, digging this way is going to be a little bit more difficult, okay, but I've got a nice hole down this way. So you scoop under, catch this, and we're going to do what I call the wrist peel, okay? You catch him with your wrist on the part that's protruding, okay? He's left this all out there hanging in the wind. So what I'm going to do is catch it with my wrist and then just peel up this way as I lean back and apply my hips. If all I do is I just try and use my hand to get this free, that's not going to work, okay? Even if I get like this and start pulling, it's still probably not going to work. But what I'm doing is I'm attaching his arm to my chest so that when I do start peeling with my wrist, I can lean back and use my hips to help pull the rest of it free.
And the weight of his body.
Right.
And the weight of your body, yeah.
Okay, so peel up with the wrist and back. Okay, that one works pretty well too if the guy's like this and he's got his hand stuck out a little bit more. Okay, peel up and back.
So you're just really collecting that wrist of his or that hand of his, just trapping it up and pulling it back. That's a good question. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Okay. All right. We'll call it there. Thanks, guys. We're working on levers right now from a leg press position to JUJI GATAME. And Mike is doing the thigh lever. In this case, his left hand grabs his thigh real close to his chest, as you see here. He's trapping John's arm. And the other hand slides up through, palm up, much like an uppercut punch. We'll come from a different angle here. You can see it. See, traps with a thigh grab, and he's starting to work, and I prise it free. Notice he's prying toward, in this case Mike pried toward his left, toward the weak area of John's shoulder, not straight back. Notice how he grabs the thigh here, and he rolls toward the head area where the shoulder is weakest. This is one of many levers that we do, and it really works well. I like this thigh lever because you really can control the arm quite well. This is why we do the leg press position. We hold them just long enough to lever the arm free. And by the way, these are shown extensively in my book, JUJI GATAME Encyclopedia. There's a quick shameless plug. I'm a free market kind of guy. But nonetheless, it is a good book, we feel, and had a lot of input from these guys into it. So we cover levers and prying the arm free extensively in JUJI GATAME Encyclopedia, more so than any of my other books. So this is one of many levers, one of the basic levers I teach, and it works quite well. So this is the thigh and uppercut lever, thigh grab lever into JUJI GATAME. And there you can see, again, this is the first time John's doing it. He's a new guy. And I believe arm locks are a basic skill. And we teach JUJI GATAME as our initial arm lock. There he goes, and he gets it, and you can see that was a good application. Once he figured it out, he did it quite well. Okay, that's a lever to JUJI GATAME, one of the basics we do, the thigh lever. We're working on the double arm lever from a leg press for JUJI GATAME. And again, this is the one Ronda Rousey used to get her opponent. Of course, she had a sweaty arm in the no-gi MMA fight, and the judo gi provides a little too much traction, I guess it would be, you know, too much resistance, friction. But see, trap the arm close to the head, and the other arm traps. Ben, show that again. So left arm underhook, Andres. Now, with his right arm, he comes over and also notice he uses legs to kind of squish accordion the shoulders together, and as he does, he traps the far elbow with his right arm, drags it up, and gets the JUJI GATAMI. So you're really capturing his far elbow as well, and levering the arm back into a JUJI GATAMI. So you can see the control there. He traps it. Okay, and he traps it, and he just drags. And there he gets the drag. See how he catches the arm, and he rolls back into the JUJI GATAMI. This is one of many good levers that we use to get the arm free in leg press position for JUJI. But it is a useful one, and this is in this particular case is very similar, if not the same thing that Ronda Rousey did on her opponent in an MMA match. She set it up also by using her right leg to hook, or her leg to hook into a straddle pin position to help control the arms better. In other words, by that leg, kind of accordion the shoulders together very much. See how very good shoulder control, and we have it there. So basically, the top grappler is controlling the shoulders from the leg press position and controlling the far arm as well as the near arm to get the drag. And we're seeing here, we'll watch Sarah practice it here. See how she's really good on pulling the far arm and dragging it. So there we have it, the far arm drag to JUJI GATAMI lever. We're drilling just to trap and lever the arm from a leg press position, and we're just drilling on this. The top guy is working on doing a lot of repetitions and getting his favorite lever, and in this case Dre's working on a nice lapel grab and arm hook lever. He does a bunch of repetitions, and now it looks like it's going to be Ken's turn. And it's a skill drill, and we start with controlling him in a good leg press, as you can see Ken doing here, and he's just working on digging in. The bottom guy gives varying degrees of resistance, and you kind of work it out with your partner how you want to do it, or the coach may decide, okay, we're going to do 20% resistance or 50% or whatever it may be, and we're just working on the skill of getting him on he's already on his back, and we're working a lever, a trap and lever. Trap is when you trap his arm to your chest or torso, and lever is when you pry it loose. And this is just a trap and lever drill from the leg press, working for JUJI GATAMI. And there you have it. We'll just keep drilling on this. And there we go.
Okay, so this happens a lot out of the straddle, and not really sure why, but it's a common way to try and get out of it. And it just kind of makes it easier to JUJI him. So we're gonna go to the straddle. You can even use it as a fake if you want. Fake going to the straddle, he'll react, and then you sit back into a JUJI. So I've got it. Again, he's a stud. Arm ain't going anywhere, okay? So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna hook, okay, lean forward, kick back. All right, Mike knows what's coming, so he's gonna turn this way. That makes getting the bent arm lock a little bit more difficult because I have to put his shoulder all the way back there. Okay, he's got a lot of range of motion. He might be super bendy in his arm. I'm not even going to try it from this position. But what he has given me is a really easy way to sit back into JUJI again. Okay, he's rolled forward. I've already got this foot down. Okay, scoop again. Okay, and there I can either go up like this and grab my gi, grab my shoulder, uppercut it. Sometimes if I'm doing no-gi, I'll put it down and kind of, half him. What do they call it? Half Nelson. Okay. As soon as I get that, whichever way I decide to do it, okay, I'm going to put that foot up and then just step around. Once I collect his head, you sit right back into JUJI. Okay. And the difference between this and this is that I have all of that gravity working for me. Okay, I've got momentum on my side now. So when I hook this and sit back, it pops free for me because all my weight is now going to pull that back instead of just shoulder and back power.
And see also, guys, see how he trapped Mike's arm so tightly to his chest and torso there. See, now Mike is rolling away, resisting, trying to get away. Derek is literally hugging his arm to his chest, Mike's arm to his chest. And notice his left leg is across the torso with control there. And See that? So it's a good control there, and he's like stepping. Now all he's going to do is kick his right leg over, roll back, and the body weight's going to roll him back into releasing the arm.
Oh.
This is an old, tried and true way of setting a guy up back into a juji. You're really baiting him into getting his arm.
And then, you know, once you get used to this position and he rolls over, then you can have all kinds of other fun, like
So you roll him over in a head roll juji,
finish up.
which believe me has been done. It's a great move, you know. So there are a lot of variations there once you've got that. Again, this is how strong the leg press is. This is why, and then we work into the straddle, which is directly from the leg press. We kick over. Look at that. So you got another release. So you can see how many variants you can do in the juji.
All kinds of different ways to get it from there. The
Okay.
key is you're moving back and forth fluidly. You're transitioning between your pins. Okay, don't get married to one. Try them all out, okay?
Okay, you notice how he continues to improve his position and make Mike's position worse. And that's the idea of good ground fighting.
Yep.
Or good standing fighting, whatever. Okay, let's drill that, and then we'll go into the last one. We'll do a choke a little later. Okay, let's get him. We'll start this from a leg press. Okay, and this is a really good move, and it's uki gatame, straddle hold. Uki, like in a judo sense, can mean like a floating uki otoshi, floating drop throw, you know. But in this case, it also means to straddle over something, to skim over the top of something. That's what uki, U-K-I means. Okay. In this case, uki gatame, straddle hold. I'm straddling him over the top. So Derek's got Mike in a really good leg press position. He's really working that juji, but Mike's been eating his Wheaties, and he's just, you know, Derek can't, you know, lever that arm free. Okay. So a good plan B is to go right to the straddle hold, which could lead right into like a mount or tate shiho gatami or any other number of things. But what we're going to do today, right now anyway, is do the uki gatami, and he's going to realize he's in a bad position, so he's probably going to sit up or, you know, try to get his arm, you know, get out of that, and Derek's going to flip right back into a JUJI GATAME. Okay, so we're gonna see how it works from that position, and then we're going to work into a pin of itself. So Derek's got him here, and he's decided, okay, uki gatami time. Now what he does is, look when he does this, guys, he actually kind of does almost the splits. Okay, when he does this, now look at this left hand control here. He puts it on his thigh for control, so he's really trapped Mike's arms really well. Okay, now as he does that, he throws the top leg back and he just sits like his knee in, and he reaches over here and he grabs Mike. He could post, he could, whatever he wants to do. Derek likes to grab, so there's the straddle hold right there. He's got him there he could hold him there for a while. Okay, now he would probably transition from this if he just wanted to pin him right up into a mount or a tate shiho gatame, vertical four corner hold. Okay, and then he could also work any other stuff from there if you want to finish him off with a juji udigarami, which is most common. But there you have a nice series there. But let's really play him. I'll tell you where I first saw this move. Two guys from Britain did this, Neil Eckersley and Stephen Gawthorpe. They were both Olympic bronze medalists in 1984 for Great Britain, and they were masters of newaza. They were just fabulous, and both of them did this with great skill, especially Gawthorpe, I think. But Eckersley was quite good at it himself, so probably both good. But anyway, this isn't exactly how they did it, but this is kind of the way we developed it over the years. So he's doing the leg press. He's got Mike, and go ahead and start with that, the leg press, like we got him there. Okay, now he wants to make sure, guys, you got to be precise. When he decides he's going to go for the straddle hold, okay, uki gatame, he shifts here, and look at that hand on his thigh. Okay, now a guy like Jimmy Pedro would grab the belt. He would just hold that belt like that. That's good too. Okay, so that's a good situation if you want to do that. We grab the thigh because we get a good. You don't have to. Try the belt grab. It works great too. Okay.
Your
All right.
belt or his belt?
His belt.
His
Right.
belt. Can you see that? Okay. His belt. Now, when he does this, he's going to shoot this leg back, and he's going to kind of straddle it. Notice see how he's kind of in a straddle position here, and notice he came up here like this to hold. You could be grabbing through the middle of his legs, wherever you wanted to grab. You could grab his leg, and even, you know, like hold on to it. You know, whatever you like there. But in this case, he's doing this. Now Mike figures out, holy schmoly, I'm in trouble. You know, so he's going to try to maybe sit up or whatever, or he's going to try to get out of the pin. And as soon as he does that, he forgot, Derek can whip right back into a juji and finish him. So it's leg press, you know, get the juji, try the juji. He's not buying into it. Straddle hold. He forgets that. He comes up and he can finish out with the juji. Okay, that's a nice series. You know, kind of a juji, uki gatami, juji gatami. Like that. Now, let's say here's a situation that could come up, guys, that may happen. We've tried this. Derek's tried this, and Mike's tried to get out, but he said, "No, I'm still not giving you that arm." You know, so Derek's gone back with a JUJI GATAME, but Mike isn't giving up that arm. So Derek can say, "Okay, I'll roll you back down into a leg press, and I'll come back into my straddle hold, and now I'll just go right into a mount or tate shiho gatami." Now I've got him. And now you've got time. You got him in a good time hold. We'll say Komani, good time hold. You can go into a bent arm lock, or you can work for a choke, or you can come back out to a JUJI GATAME if you want.
Does the uki gatami count as a time hold?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it really does. So I mean, he's not getting up and you're controlling his body.
Right, and if he's not fighting too much, you can just leave him there.
You can
and
hold
you're
him
still
there.
Just
getting-
hold him there and get
You know,
your time.
I've seen people do this. I've seen a number of guys do this with good success, and just keep them there and ride them. You know, like if you're doing in judo, it's only a 20-second ride anymore, okay?
Okay.
In sambo, freestyle judo, I can hold that for maybe 20 seconds, get my 4 points in, and go right to the submission. So, you know, you can see how this really has, but notice, be careful to do some things. When he's going to go for the straddle hold or uki gatami, notice the change here. He wants, this is anchor, okay? Now, he does that. Now he reaches up and see how he's straddling here. Now, some guys have their knees a little closer to the head. You have that real tight in, okay? Some guys have a little wider base. You see out here is posting? Guys, play with this. It's a really skilled move. It really is. What's that?
I said diaphragms are for wimps.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But just remember, you want to be able, if you want to shift back on to get your juji, you want to have this back leg close enough that you can swing it up quickly.
How
Bam,
susceptible
right
are you
back in
to
there.
bridging on that?
Yes,
You can be knocked off with a bridge.
you can be knocked off the bridge.
Okay, that's
So
all.
You
I
have-
just
you
kind
have
of
to be
noticing.
awfully good at
because you're
the bridge.
shifting your weight like right over
it's a
there.
bit
you
precarious.
kinda-
You've got to shift your weight to sit right on his torso,
Yes.
right on his diaphragm. Literally sit on his diaphragm and ride it.
And then exhale makes yourself heavier.
This is like the epitome of riding, and for me at least, because you're literally surfing on him while he's bucking around on you, and just trying to figure out which direction you can go with it.
And as you guys, you'll feel this. You know, the Japanese say you have to feel your judo or, you know, feel your jiu-jitsu or whatever. It's true. When you're on top here and in Derek's position, you may have to do some minor things to adjust your weight, shift it back and forth to keep them where you want them. And that's why we practice. We'll be working on that.
And that's probably why he's grabbing the leg.
Yeah, and you can be gaining more control by getting another handle with a body part or something. And then when you're ready, you can go to something else or shift back to your JUJI GATAME. Okay, so you've got a lot of options here. It's a great move. All right, and it's called uki gatami straddle hold. Okay, and
That's why you're talking about the floating.
yeah, that's the floating. You're not floating on it. You're
floating
straddling it in this
Got it.
case. Right. Want to practice it? Let's give it a try. Okay, everybody, what we're doing here tonight is from a leg press position, and you got him in a good JUJI GATAME controlling situation here. And Steve's on top, Eric's on the bottom. What we're going to do is finish him if you can't get the arm lock, okay? And you know, Steve's trying, and you know, Eric's offering really good defense, whatever. And yeah, it's just not working. So now let's switch to something else. Let's go to a triangle choke from this position. A lot of you guys know it. Some of you don't. Those of you don't know it, you're going to learn it tonight. It's a cool move. So Steve, why don't you go ahead and kind of, if you want to coach through it, talk through it. I'll add comment. I think Derek's over here. He will too. So.
I think when you first showed this to me, I tried it up in St. Joe, and I was going against this demoing of this bigger guy, and we were doing this, and he said, "Oh, you know, that's fantastic. Who's going to fall for this?" And then we were doing randori later that evening, and I suckered him right into it. He goes, "Oh, it works." So I can't get the arm press. so nothing's working. So he has this room in here, Eric has this room, so I can just slip his leg right through here.
So the leg that's actually closest to his legs, that's across his body, you pop it up and slip it through. There you go.
I'm gonna
Okay.
pull on him, and Eric's going to go with me because he doesn't want his arm bar. Boom. Then you just form that pillow right there.
Press what?
And there's a double trouble move with the arm bar and the...
And you got the triangle choke and you got the JUJI Gatame. Let's look at that again. So you got him leg press. Now watch, you make yourself, and look at with your left leg, you're kind of controlling his head. You're kind of being nice to him right now, but you kind of press it at first and then move it out slightly so you have room to work, don't you? Okay, now your right leg is filtered through. You roll back on your right hip, the hip closest to his hip, form your triangle. See that? Kick your leg over. And now when you finish him back down, you can end up right into a JUJI. And you can choke him from that position as well. Okay, Derek, you have a way of doing this. We've shown it in some of our books too. By the way, everybody, this is in JUJI Gatame Encyclopedia. Let's just peddle our book here.
So I'm switching the view around because I'm going to be doing more to force the issue. A lot of guys aren't going to let me filter my foot through. Okay, so unless you're pretty flexible and dexterous with your feet, you're not going to get it through there. So what I'll do usually is I'll be pulling this and trying to get it out. I'll use the hip grab that we usually do for the uppercutting and pulling it out to lever it free up this way.
You're right. Your left hand in this case is levered on your right thigh.
Right,
There you go.
right
I see
thigh.
it. Right, you. Okay.
And once I get it up here, if I can't pull it free, I'm going to take my foot and put that right there into his bicep. And that'll either give me the grip break to finish, or that'll give me enough space to just pop through. And as soon as it's popped through, I keep my feet here, but then when I roll back, I catch right there. I wait until I'm all the way back before I let go of his head.
So your right knee is actually helping lift his head.
Right.
As you roll back.
So I roll back, as soon as I get space, I push with that knee, and that creates a lot tighter grip. And if he's not tapping already, he taps pretty quick, or you just grab it.
It's so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
For you, not for the other guy. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right, so there's your leg press. Okay. That helps create some space.
Push it through,
There you go.
lean this way, push his head up.
That's when you form that triangle, and you can roll back and get the tap out. And if he's a tough guy or just
Then you
not particularly bright and won't tap out, you can still get the arm lock. So as Steve said, you can get some double trouble action there too if you get the JUJI and the tap out.
I'll usually stay on this hip, because otherwise if I come back here, you notice I don't have the squeeze anymore for the JUJI, even if, or sorry, for the triangle choke, even if I sit up. So as soon as I come back to a sitting position, I lose the choke. So stay on your hip pointed towards his knees or his feet. And that way you've still got the choke. You good? Yeah. Okay. You've still got the choke here while you're levering free, and you've got more than enough space to get the JUJI and the choke.
Okay, guys, so that is actually, it's a triangle choke, a Sankaku Jime from a leg press position. Very common position. If you see this, I'll tell you a guy who did it quite well years ago when he was still active was Neil Adams. He was one of the first guys to actually do this and teach it in camps, training camps. And it might have been where I first saw it. I can't remember. I remember this has been around a long time. But it's when you get a guy in double trouble, boy, that's good for you and bad for him. So, okay, let's practice that. We'll come back. We'll do some other stuff. Okay? Go get him, guys.